The future of San Diego is not the stereotypical American dream. Single family home, white picket fence in a suburban neighborhood. You need to start thinking a little bit differently than this. But that doesn't mean the only other options are high rises, which is good news, I think, for a lot of us. After years of research on this topic, here's what you can expect for the future of San Diego housing. Let me know if you agree. By the way, my name is Dan Parker with the Best Life Home Team, and the thing is, I may not be the realtor for you. More on that later. So why are we talking about the future of San Diego housing as being different than it is today? There are three main factors that are pushing these new trends moving forward. Number one is going to be a housing shortage and limited land availability. So finding a 200 buildable acre lot for development is exceedingly rare in this day and age. I mean, there's just not a lot of land left. Number two, the high cost of housing development and difficulty of getting developments going here in California in general is driving creative solutions. I think at some point I'd like to do a video just on that, on the specific challenges that these large developers face when trying to build new developments here in San Diego. Number three is going to be the growing appeal for walkable urban spaces as compared to like suburbia, where you get more space, it's a little bit more quiet. And there are three communities that break the mold here that we're going to end up getting into way more detail on. But if you look at Savita and Mission Valley, I think was the first one to kind of go down this route. Three Roots in Sorrento Mesa and Fox Point Farms in Encinitas. Again, more on that later. So those were the reasons why we're headed the way we're headed. Now, what I'm seeing is four major trends that we are seeing and you can expect for San Diego's future. I mean, we're seeing them now, but they're going to continue and they're going to get more and more drastic. Number four, I think, is the most exciting out of all of them for sure. Number one is what NIMBYs are the most scared of, which is more density, more multifamily projects. And again, this doesn't mean necessarily that everywhere is going to look like downtown San Diego. In fact, I don't think that's the case at all. I do think downtown San Diego will expand to some of the neighboring communities, especially the walkable areas around Balboa Park, places like Hillcrest, North Park, potentially South Park, although that's a little bit more in the flight path, so maybe not as much South Park. Bankers Hill, we've already started seeing it there. So you're going to start to see more density. And you can see this for sure if you go down into an area like Hillcrest right now. It seems like they've just bought up these homes and threw in a complex that they could put 50 to 100 units into. They get a couple different lots right next to each other, and then they put in these big complexes, and you see them being built all over Hillcrest right now. And it's good in a way because we need more housing, so you turn 3 or 4 homes into 40 units. I mean, there is some value in that for sure. Stinks for the person next door who still has a single family home, and now you have this monstrosity next to you, but I don't know that there's necessarily a way around that. The other huge negative of this trend is the fact that most of these almost exclusively are for rent. It's just condos for rent. It's or apartments for rent. You can't purchase them individually. And there are a lot of reasons for that I've learned recently of how much more difficult it is to sell these condo units because of the opportunity for the HOA and for the homeowners to sue the builder within a 10-year period. But if you rent it out, you don't have to really worry about that in the same way. I'm not saying that like it's a good thing, because it's not a good thing. It's sad. It sucks, but it's what's resulted in a lot of these big complexes being turned into apartments for rent as opposed to condos for sale. Second trend is we are going to continue to see some traditional single-family master plan detached communities, which is great. However, the percentage, if you look at 10,000 homes a year in San Diego, in the city of San Diego being built, that's including attached properties, that's including ADUs, it's like the total number of units that permits are out for that got accepted to build new homes in San Diego County. We're going to see 5% or less than those are going to be the traditional communities that used to, the homes with the white picket fences, with the backyard. We're going to see it more and more pushed out to the fringe areas, more into the rural areas, more into the south, way down deep into Escondido and Otay Mesa, Otay Ranch, farther north up into Valley Center, into Fallbrook. This is something that we're going to see more and more pushed farther and farther out. And that's not to say there aren't going to be any single family homes available anywhere central in San Diego, but these are going to be smaller projects, which I'll talk about here in a second. And generally, we're looking at luxury, quote unquote, properties with most likely at minimum a $2 million starting point. Some of these homes are going to go for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus, maybe not 6 plus, but 2, 3, 4 million, I think is going to be very, very standard for these luxury, small boutique communities that they are building on smaller lots. And a great example of one of these bigger communities that's being built is the Citro community by Tri Point Homes in Fallbrook. I mean, this is great if you want a single family home, like somewhat affordability. They have 844 homes in the Citro community in Fallbrook. So if you're willing to be a little bit farther north, then you can find homes for under $1 million for single family, brand new construction in a brand new community. And if you don't believe me on the statistics, take a look at this. This is the annual progress report from San Diego.gov showing exactly how many homes are single family over the last couple of years. So since 2014, this yellow part of the bar is showing how many are single family homes. The green part is ADUs, which obviously has been growing and growing. And then we have multifamilies down in orange. So in 2023, we're looking at roughly 7%. We were closer to 10% in 2022, 2020, 2021, under or right around 5%. This is a shrinking margin of 10,000 homes being built annually in the city of San Diego. And we're just going to see that continue to shrink and shrink and shrink. So if you're waiting for this huge development throughout the county of new single family homes, that is a thing of the past. The third trend that we are seeing, we're currently seeing it now, we're going to see it more and more, are smaller, what I like to call infill projects. So opposed to large master plan communities like Citro, like I just mentioned in Fallbrook, these are going to be buildable lots of like 10 to 20 acres. And so within 10 to 20 acres, you could potentially build, 10, 20, maybe 30 homes, somewhere like that within that community, between the roads that you have to build, the homes, the lots, everything like that. Let's say maybe you can get 40 homes on a 20 acre lot. What we're seeing more and more of are actually going to be townhomes and condos. And so you can look at websites from some of the top builders. KB Homes, they have most of their developments here in San Diego County are these townhomes. Shea Homes, which I always knew starting out in this industry as more of a single family home builder. Now the majority of the developments that they have planned throughout San Diego County are either attached properties, either condos or townhomes. So this is certainly something that we are going to see more and more of, where they can fit, instead of, let's just say 20 to 30 single family homes in that same lot, they could potentially build 100, maybe even 130, 140 townhomes or condos. So as a developer, obviously there's a lot more value in that. For a community, there's also value in actually giving us more housing because we're so dang short on housing. In number four, I'm so excited to share with you. Number 4 are going to be hybrid communities. Now, this is what I think is the potential future of San Diego, especially on paper. And I'm gonna talk about and show you some good examples and some maybe not so good examples over the last couple of years. But overall, there's so much demand when these types of communities come out. And I think it's adding so much more value. So let me explain this a little bit. If, as a home buyer, you're going to compromise a little bit for an attached property. So let's say instead of getting a single family detached home, I'm willing to share some walls, but I need to get more out of that. The lifestyle needs to be really, really good for me to justify that attached property. And we're not talking just standard, like basic amenities here, like a basic pool, a really small gym. We're talking about big and usable parks with fields, walking paths, dog parks, picnic areas, basketball courts, pickleball courts, food trucks, events. We're talking about access to fun locally owned businesses. So like mixed use properties. Sometimes you'll see that with the businesses on the bottom and actual housing, residential properties on top of that. But some of these new communities are integrating the businesses in such a unique and cool way. And so as a buyer, if you're looking for one of these attached properties and you aren't necessarily going to get that big backyard that you want, but you get way closer proximity to the ocean at a much better price, the value and the cost of the house is going to be down because it's an attached property. You have all of these amenities that you can use on a regular basis built within your community so that it's more than just a plot of land that you're buying. You're also getting access to a lot of fun things around you that you can use on a regular basis, that might make it worth it. And in my eyes, these types of communities started with Savita in Mission Valley. Now, this is cool because it's a very central community. They had a mix of attached properties and detached properties. It's kind of on a hill, so they were able to build in these amenities in a really unique way. They have an extremely nice resort-style pool. They have like a trellised park with every layer kind of has something different and unique, and gardens throughout, and walking trails and basketball courts and all these different things. It's also on the trolley line. It gives people access to more businesses that are still opening up right now. This is a really, really great place to live. And I think this is something that started to spark more interest in these like hybrid style communities. The thought is a community that you don't necessarily need a car, or you don't need to use a car all the time. The next community that started to build on this, and I think on paper really sold people strong in the beginning, is the Three Roots community. So this was in 2022. This is when the market was absolutely bonkers as a buyer trying to purchase a home. And I remember the day that they opened their lists to get on their interest list for these homes, they were flooded with thousands and thousands of applicants when they only had like a couple hundred homes that they were releasing that first year. So this is a community in Sorrento Mesa. It was dubbed an innovative new construction master plan community focused on sustainability, healthy living, and connectivity. And I think at the end of the day, we have some clients that ended up there. They really like living in the community, but I also think that there are some negatives there too. I think that they didn't do everything perfect. They didn't do everything perfectly right. And when you drive through that community, it just feels so incredibly dense that it does suck away a little bit from the amenities and the healthy lifestyle and all the other things that they had mentioned in the beginning. And if you live in Three Roots, if you've visited this community, let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think about Savita and Three Roots, because it's not just about my opinion. We want people to learn from you at the same time. And this last one I think is the most exciting. This is the newest. This is Fox Point Farms. So I think they started selling. People started moving in last year in 2024. And this is 250 homes built on 21 acres. But the unique thing about this is they have a 3-acre organic regenerative farm in the heart of this community. They have a beautiful farm stand, farm-to-table restaurant, cafe, brewery, park space, events. This really is a community where they're trying to wrap everything into it and have an opportunity to purchase a home for under $1 million, very close to coastal Encinitas, is... I remember just being blown away at the time. So they're at the point where I think they have, I think the numbers I just saw were they have like 18 homes left, and they have hundreds and hundreds of people left on their wait list. So you don't really have an opportunity to get in there for a brand new home. But it is a place I highly recommend checking out. I've eaten at the restaurant. We've gone to the market. We've hung out in that area. We've had some beers from their brewery, and it's fantastic. There's a lot to like. I could see why people would like that. And I would love to see more communities like this. I'd love to see some 1,000 home communities and some 2,000 home communities, even if it's a little bit farther out. But I think that this is a repeatable model that shows there's so much dang interest in a community like this if it's in the right place, if it's a tight-knit community, and it gives people an opportunity to have a different sort of lifestyle in San Diego than you can find from regular suburbia. Okay, I get it, Dan. These are the new types of homes coming out. What does this actually mean for me? And I don't know why. I have a lot of lists on this video. There are four reasons, four things that this means to you specifically. Is number one, if you do want to prioritize your lifestyle, then you can enjoy a future of new homes throughout San Diego, where I think we're going to see more and more of these unique mixed communities. And I think that's a really good thing. Number two, if you really want a single family home, prices, I believe, and this, you don't have to believe me on this, I believe prices on single family homes throughout the county are going to appreciate faster than attached homes, condos, and townhomes. And so over time, as we're building more and more attached properties, as they're taking down single family homes and building some multifamily units, there's still always going to be single family homes available. They're going to become more and more dated, obviously. Like right now, most of San Diego, if you're looking for a single family home and you don't have a monstrous budget, you're looking at something that was built between the 50s and maybe early 2000s. But we're going to see that price continue to appreciate more and more. And so if that's something that you want, it probably would be better to get in sooner rather than later, although it's not like a runaway train at this point. I think that's going to be slowly built over the next 10 years is just going to continue to get farther and farther away from attached properties. Number 3, if you are looking for brand new construction today or kind of considering that, download our new construction list. We update this every single month because we know it's hard to find out there all the specific new construction communities in San Diego with their pricing, what's available, links to their sites. So we've consolidated, we've done all the hard work and consolidated that for you. And you should also probably know what are the best and worst builders so you know who to avoid. And number 4, I might not be the realtor for you because if you want to hire a realtor in this process, you should find someone that you feel like you can connect with and get value from. If that's not me, that's totally fine. I only want to work with people that feel like they can connect with me. I have the best clients and I really, really love that. But if you do want to work with me or want to consider working with me, all my info is down below.